what's the darkest bit about being in like a successful band?
So I got myself into a real hole last US tour for Wild World. Everyone thinks the goal is to get a record deal, but they don't realise that's just step one.
Hello, welcome back to We Dive Deeper. My name is Kate McGill, and this is the podcast where small talk goes to die. My guests pick at random from 70 of my all-time favourite deep and intrusive personal questions. An amazing conversation ensues. So, since Billy's episode, so many of you have left ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, and I am just so grateful. Thank you so much. I'd love to read a couple out if that's okay. Not that you have a choice in the matter. Apsy2503 said, I've never been a huge podcast fan, but I've loved these. So good to have such a relatable series to listen to. Thanks so much, Kate. No. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you leaving that. Jerry67WE said, the first podcast I've ever become invested in and actually wait for the next episode. Just brilliant. Kate's a lovely host to listen to. Thank you. I can host your life if you want. I don't know how the hell that would work, but we could work something out, I'm sure. Robert Holland27 said, I'm not one for reviews, but this is going to help anyone who listens. Amazing to hear people's stories and views. Thank you. Okay, one more. Sam2604 said, a real look behind the curtain of people's lives can be brutal and honest, attacking deep and potentially upsetting issues with equal amounts of care and respect, but also humour in places, makes you feel like you're not the only one. Highly recommended. Man, I am so grateful, guys. Thank you for leaving those. Don't forget, you can get the last 10 to 20 minutes of each We Dive Deeper episode exclusively on my Patreon, and you get it a week earlier than everyone else. That's patreon.com/Kate McGill. Okay, now that stuff is over and done with, let's get on with today's episode. My guest is Woody from Bastille. How the mothering fuck did I manage to pull that one off? He is the drummer, and for those of you who don't know Bastille, then have you been living under a rock, because it might be impossible. They released their first album, Bad Blood, back in 2013, and it went to number 1. And you will have heard Pompeii, even if you don't know Bastille, you will have heard of Pompeii because it was fucking everywhere. And as of February this year, they've sold over 9 million records worldwide, which is just incredible. Their success just seems to go from strength to strength, and I feel so grateful to have had this chat with Woody today. We dive into their rise in fame, their success, touring, what it's like to be in a touring band, becoming a dad, a bit of Brexit in there too, the coolest people that he's met, the coolest gigs that he's played, and kind of the dark side of the music industry too, and the stuff that maybe people don't really know. So I hope you enjoy this chat. I absolutely loved having it with him, and yeah, I was a bit drunk in the middle of it, and you'll soon find out why. So without further ado, here is my chat with Woody. So Woody, welcome.
Hi.
This has been so quick. He came and met me at the train station from Brighton about 10 minutes ago, it feels like. Came in, set up, bish bash bosh.
Pro, mate.
Here
Absolute
we fucking
pro.
are. So have you heard any of these episodes yet or before?
I've not, no.
Okay, so do
Honesty.
you know... I literally couldn't care less. Do you know the premise of it?
Surprise me.
Okay, so got 70 of my all-time favourite, ridiculously intrusive, personal, deep questions. And Woody, you're just going to pick a number between 1 and 70, and
Perfect.
we're going to start.
I'm going to go for number 8.
Okay, number 8. Do you think you're being your real self on social media?
Yeah. Because I don't post every day constantly. If I did and spew what was on my brain, that would be probably career ending. But yeah, I mean, I don't.
What's your general opinion on social media?
I mean, for my job as a musician,
yeah,
it's pretty much half the game now in terms of it's all well and good having good music, and obviously if you're like the top upper echelons, elite, you can get away with ignoring it. But everyone nowadays, they want a piece of you. They want to know what you're doing. They want interaction because now everyone's got that like channel to speak to like whatever band or musician they like.
Yeah.
So a necessary evil. I kind of, I don't know. I'm gonna sound like a proper old man now because I've got 2 kids, but it's like I despair and worry what's going to be awaiting them down the line. Even things like I met my missus pre-Tinder existing,
Right.
so I never had to go through the whole swiping left and right nonsense. So
Let me tell you, it's gross.
it seems like a real like slog.
It really is.
But also like it makes you wonder like if you're at a bar and you try and meet someone, chances are they're already pre-booked. It's like, oh, sorry, I've got a date coming in 5 minutes.
Oh God, I had never actually thought of it like that. That's so weird, and that's not nice.
Yeah.
And I know I already sound like an old fogey saying this, but it really feels like it takes away from just being able to have a conversation with someone in normal life. Like,
also,
people are just so attached to it.
Yeah, but also hearing like people like book 2 or 3 dates a night off that thing, it's just like,
yeah. But I think, like you said, it probably is a necessary evil now because everyone's on it. That's kind of the only way to meet people now, is because most people are on Hinge and Bumble or whatever the fuck it is.
I don't know, well, whatever they're called, but it's and then like kind of so many, just even like in life in general, like people aspiring to get likes or whatever, as in like obviously I'm part of the problem as well. I'm posting things for trying to gain attention for promoting my stuff or whatever. So it's like I'm not saying it's like you shouldn't do it, but living your life by number of likes or retweets or whatever, it's a bit like.
Yeah, what do you think about Instagram taking away likes, or they're trialing that now?
Are they?
Yeah.
I mean, cool.
I think that's cool, isn't it?
I mean, also like the whole thing, that there's this whole industry now of like buying them as well. You can get on bots or whatever. It's just like,
and followers too. Like, you get it, but like when you apparently now the number one career that kids want to be is a YouTuber. Like it's something like 80% or something of kids. You're just like. And you can kind of see the appeal because they just look like they're having fun and it's loads of money and stuff. But it's always about the validation and fame. It seems like it seems very vapid.
Yeah, the whole thing's really voyeuristic too. Everyone likes to just peer in and even just like watching people. Like something I'll put my hands up being old fogey. People with these like Twitch accounts where they're just filming themselves playing FIFA in their pants, talking about their day, and you get like 100,000 people watching it. It's like,
I know.
Have you ever seen that film Idiocracy?
No.
It's basically where it's kind of like tongue-in-cheek comedy thing, but basically everyone who's really intelligent ends up prioritizing their careers and not breeding. There's people who are really thick just keep on banging at kids to the point where 1,000 years later humanity is just absolutely demented.
Oh God, so why does that feel too close to home?
It feels like, yeah. So then was it Luke Wilson gets frozen in time? He's this like bog standard, like pretty thick by our kind of current day standard soldier, wakes up in the future and he's like the smartest man on earth. They're like watering plants with Gatorade, all that sort of stuff. And
oh my God, I need to watch this. I'm going to note it down. What is it called?
Idiocracy. It's really good.
Is it like new?
That's been out for ages, but
what the fuck?
It's kind of a little underground cult classic, that one. But yeah, worryingly, there's lots of parallels with that. There's a film in it where they're at the cinema watching a film called Ass, and it's just an ass farting for like an hour.
What?
And it's like we're kind of pretty close to that.
Oh no, and especially with like reality TV, Big Brother, The Love Island stuff. And I've got to fucking admit, I love that shit. I absolutely love it. But
it's got its place.
When you kind of like step back and look at yourself watching it, you're just like, because I actually know that the only thing I get from it is just knowing that other people may like react a bit differently to things, or I'm like, oh, I think I'd handle that better. Like I can feel my brain doing it, and I'm like, this is just making me feel better. That's the only reason I'm watching it, which is really fucked up.
But also, I don't know, Love Island, it's a bit of an odd one because none of it's real. Everyone knows there are cameras everywhere, and it's like, oh, also the way, like, because I mean, so I have to watch it because my missus watches it, and so if I want to see it every evening, I have to sit through it. But when they talk about, oh yeah, you know, when we're on the outside, it's like you're literally in prison.
I know, doesn't it
talking
sound
about
like
the
that?
outside.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that. That's fucked up. Okay, right. Next question.
Ooh,
let's get meatier.
Before we do this, hang on.
Oh, you got me a present.
Yeah.
Really?
Taste the foam. There we go.
Oh my God, guys, he's got me Plymouth gin.
I bought Navy Strength by accident.
But wait, does that mean it's going to absolutely kill me?
Apparently that's, according to the bottle, that's strong enough to light gunpowder.
Holy shit. So if I did a shot now, I'd die?
Be mortal, yeah.
I kind of want to do a shot.
I'll do it.
You want to do it? Oh, you're picking up your kids in like
I'm driving, man.
a minute. Oh
You
my
can.
God, Woody, thank you so
It's
much.
all right.
That is literally so kind of you. Yeah, we're actually both from Plymouth.
That's
and
it.
I feel like that's been the connection throughout. When did we, well, not like throughout, but like I feel like at some point we figured that out and we were like, oh shit.
We first crossed paths. Not paths.
I know. I was talking to my friend about this. Carry on.
Just saying how it's spelt. There's no R in path.
Exactly.
We first crossed paths because you did a cover of Flaws.
Yeah.
I think that's pre us even getting a record deal and stuff. So, with your YouTube following and whatnot, that was like, oh, he's just Kate McGill, she's just done this, and it's like all of a sudden, like the kind of the MySpace plays went up.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. Yeah, because I remember doing that and being like, man, this band's fucking cool. Like they're gonna go really far. And then fuck me, did Flaws blow up? And then Bombay came, and Jesus Christ. But yeah, was it you telling me there was like you were in a school or doing a talk or something, and like they mentioned like maybe I'm thinking of something else. I can't remember.
It's basically all down to you, is what it was. Yeah.
Fuck off. Was it all down to me? Yeah, because at that Leopalooza, Dan was quite drunk at this point, and I was too. But I was shitting myself because he was like, yeah, like you should come and sing Flaws with us later. And you were headlining at this point. And I knew in my heart of hearts, I was like, I ain't fucking doing that. I'd be way too... Nothing in me would have got me on that stage. Even though I know it would have been the most insane, crazy experience. I was like, I do not have the confidence for that shit.
I'll tell you who did something similar. This is an absolute blatant name drop, but sod it. Rick Astley came up with us and sang... I
saw this photo the other day. What was that like?
So, I say, first of all, he's the nicest man you'll ever meet.
Really?
Absolute...
That doesn't
really
surprise
genuine, just really down to earth, and didn't say no to a single autograph or photo from us. Obviously, everyone else could get lost, but like basically, so he was playing before us, and we watched it and like thought it was great, and then our tour manager kind of ran into him. Well, strong. It's like for listeners at home, Kate just had a big sniff of the old Navy Strength Plymouth gin. Oh, a proper job that is.
Oh my god,
Woody,
thank you so much.
Pleasure. Just doing it. Refreshing?
I'm going to go with no. Oh my God. I can literally feel it burning my throat.
That's the feeling of ecstasy right there.
Oh wow. Where's this going to take us? Carry on.
Anyway, Rick Astley. So we basically got chatting to him. He's like, do you want to come and sing Pompeii with us? He's like, yeah, I sort of know it. So unrehearsed, Isle of Wight, main stage, TV, the lot. The boy just got up and
oh my God. How the fuck does anyone have gumption like that? I'd be shitting myself. It's Rick Astley.
There's only one Rick Astley. So
who's the coolest person you've ever met, and who's the fucking worst person you've ever met?
Worst person I won't say because I'll tell you off mic. Coolest person. I mean, we're generally pretty well behaved when it comes to meeting like famouses and stuff. But we lost our absolute shit meeting Steve Coogan a couple of years ago. Oh wait,
Steve, he's
Alan Partridge.
Yes.
So we went from we're just some indie guys in the band to giggling schoolgirls. Like, oh my god, Alan Partridge. Yeah, just lost all cool. And he's like, yeah, I think my daughter likes you.
Kind of knows your name, maybe a little bit.
Leave me alone.
That's so funny. Right, wait, where did we get to? Oh, you gave me the gym before we got the question.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
It's all downhill from here.
Number
21.
21. Okay. What's been the highlight and the low light of your year so far?
My year so far? Highlight easy, Glastonbury.
Oh my God. I watched it like whenever it was up on BBC iPlayer, and I was like, fuck me. You guys are having the time of your life.
For us, it's like, well, again, being from the West Country, it's like Glasgow's like the one anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think we're very much like a Glasgow band, and that's our 5th time playing it, but it kind of gradually crept up like the sort of stage rankings, if you will, every time. The first time we played there, we only got given 2 tickets for a band of 4. Dan had bought his ticket anyway. Kyle had to get smuggled in like on site on the Wednesday inside a sofa, like in the back of a lorry.
Oh my God.
World War II cross the border sort of style. And he spent 2 days living in a merch tent before playing to...
They are stingy as fuck with tickets, aren't they?
Yes.
Like so stingy. When me and Dan did the BBC introducing, it was literally just you two, and I think we had to like get in crew some other way.
Yeah, it was beg, borrow, steal.
But you're just like, why fucking put on a band if not going to let them have their band members?
Gives a hand, yeah. But
highlight.
So to do Pyramid was like and it was like perfect weather. Brought my family down and stuff, so like they're side of stage watching it, and like I think we had like 90,000 people or something at the front. They reckoned.
Shit. Do you still get nervous before shows?
Not well. For that one, I was excited rather than nervous. But it's like, if I can't play Pompeii right by now, I did not deserve to be in the job. It's been around long enough. But playing the new album stuff is quite nervy because like after a while, like I think when you see any band or artist when they're playing after a while, it looks quite natural and they can pull stupid poses, but it's just because they played that song 1,000 times.
Yeah.
So muscle memory is like a big thing. When it's a new song that isn't there yet, so I'm having to concentrate. Like, don't forget this bit in verse 2. I've got to do this thing and change there, and got this list of things in your head. Like, don't fuck up, don't fuck up, don't fuck up. But now it's kind of they're getting more sort of bedded in now, so I can relax again.
Yeah. Are you good under pressure?
I think so. Yeah. Like we've done like the most high pressure one was definitely we did SNL, and so that was in 2014, 2014. So that was like that's proper live to air, like primetime US TV.
Shit.
Like if you fuck up, everyone's gonna know.
And did you?
No.
Thank God for that. I feel like I physically couldn't do it. I feel like I've gone the opposite way. I swear you're meant to get more confident with age, and I'm like retreating. Like, no, can't do any of this. Too scary.
But weirdly, like when the song I think is like so ingrained, like I've done it before where if we say like into week 5 of like a big long US tour or something, it's like you kind of like, count the show off whatever, start playing, then you just kind of zone out a little bit, start thinking about daft crap like I've got to fix this thing when I get home. All of a sudden you come to and you're like 5 songs further in, and you're like, shit.
Yeah, it's such muscle memory by that point. I've had a few of those times where I'm like, I got into the stupid mindset of I am gonna forget these lyrics, like I'm going to forget them, and it was so ingrained in my head at that point that I had to have like the lyrics to every song on my phone, even though I knew I wasn't going to because it's muscle memory. Your brain can fuck you up if you let it.
Overthinking is the worst.
Yeah, right.
So I got myself into a real hole on last US tour for Wild World, which was like 2 years ago, and song on there called "Send Them Off," which it's tough to play because it's like a real for you nerds out there, it's a swung C swing programmed on Logic, so like a certain mechanical hip hop feel that we did on purpose. So on the record, like we programmed the beat and then I'm playing bits on top of it, but then thought I will figure out playing it later. So to actually perform it with this, also there's a daft bit where I overdubbed a pint glass. Was it a pint glass? Yeah, pint glass.
Oh yeah, someone mentioned that in the questions.
Yeah, and then so I had to, obviously I can't play a pint glass on stage, it's just going to be smashed every night. So I had to put these like 2 different sized bells together, upside down, clamped together, so it sounds a bit metallic when you hit it, and it kind of is close enough to the sort of the pitch of what was on the record. So I'm playing that, which is swung in a certain way, versus the beat which is swung in another way, and it took me ages to get it down. I had like full tantrums, meltdown. Anyway, I got it down, playing it fine on tour for like a year, and then just it was in Las Vegas, so there's a venue called, I want to say the Metropolitan. It's not that. Basically, one of the casinos, the entire venue, it's like 3,000 people. It's on springs, so because basically that makes it soundproof from the rest of the hotel.
Right.
But when the audience jumps, the room is literally rocking. As in, like I was grabbing cymbal stands for falling over. It was moving that much.
Oh my God.
Not a little. I was like, I felt seasick when we were doing it. But doing that, because my kit's moving around, I ballsed up the song. But I was like, okay, whatever. But then we did Coachella the next day, like high pressure.
Oh my God, the pressure.
And then it's just in my head, it's like, oh, I hope I don't balls it up. And then my foot just like locked up. I just couldn't play it properly. And it took me 2.5-3 weeks to get over it on the tour.
Oh my God.
So I was doing like an hour after sound check every day, just playing the beat again and again and again and again. And then it's fine. Get on stage, meltdown.
Oh my God, your brain is like so your worst like enemy when it comes to stuff like that. Because and you know, like even when I'll be like recording something or like learning something on piano and you're like, fuck yeah, I've got it, and then as soon as you press record you do the same fucking thing every time. You're like, literally brain, I've just taught this to you got it right. It's crazy what it can do. It freaks me out.
Yeah, but you can see why people kind of get themselves like worked up if they're like even like I think I'm pretty calm, but I was just in a rage by the end of it. So and also it was the opening song of the set every night.
Really?
So
I
spent the whole time building up to it, and it's like fucked it. So like rest of the gigs.
And even that as well, like knowing the build up, you're just constantly thinking it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and that just fucks it up. It's the worst. And so, low light of the year so far?
Low light of the year. This will probably go out when this happens, but I'm guessing Boris Johnson getting from this there.
Is that tomorrow? That's looking like it's going to be tomorrow.
Tomorrow Wednesday.
Fucking hell, we are in an absolute...
I've never known it to be as bad as this.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I have never really paid much attention to politics until Russell Brand did his like thing a couple of years ago.
He fucked it up, didn't he? Everyone don't vote. That worked out, didn't it?
I know. Now we're actually all fucked.
Yeah.
It feels like... But is Brexit going to affect
you and your like touring life?
Well, I mean, no one knows is the honest answer because they don't know how it's going to stand. If it goes to what it's like with touring, so for instance, for the US, we have to get visas and stuff. Like for a band of our size, an organisation will be fine, I imagine. I mean, they're going to want us to tour over there and vice versa, and so it'll be like a working visa, I suppose. But the real heartbreaking thing is like so many bands that are starting out at the minute can just get in a van, like, oh, we were offered a gig in Berlin, we'll just go and do it, and don't need any paperwork, anything like that, just go.
Yeah,
and do it.
it's just so not going to be that simple anymore.
But also just like on a big, I mean, I won't go off on one like politics, but like, so my missus is half Greek, half German. So like if it wasn't for open borders, then her family probably wouldn't have moved here. And it's like, you think about all the kind of relationships, friendships, whatever, people wouldn't meet without this sort of, like I've got friends in Belgium, friends in Germany, like Norway. And it's just, they can just pop over for the weekend or whatever if they so choose at the minute, or if I want to go live there for a bit, I can. But it's just, it's such a colossal backward step. And it's all being engineered by a very wealthy elite who don't give a fuck.
I don't know where the hell the end is either. Like when this feels like it's going to end, because it feels like it's just going to go on, and we're going to be living with these repercussions for years to come.
But it's also like 3 years of wasted time so far.
Like literally nothing. Yeah.
NHS is still crumbling. There's like so many bits that actually need addressing, not arguing over whether or not. Obviously, people are like, vote out because fucking Muslim. Just like, well, I don't know. Are there any Islamic states in Europe? And
people are just, I think people are just so shrouded in fear. They're making all of these decisions out of fear. I mean, I don't want to like alienate half of the population, because I'm sure there are a lot of conservatives listening maybe, but it feels like all these decisions are just out of fear. It's just, that's all it is. Like,
but also like, no one's come back with as in like, just give me like sell it to me. And they're like, we voted out, we have to leave. Like, no, but what's the good side? We voted out, we have to leave. That's all you get.
Exactly.
It's like a broken loop.
Yeah.
So it's depressing.
It is really. To be honest, for my own mental sanity, I tend to just like avoid anything political now, because I pretty much I just know it's gonna be shit every day, and it gets you down. And
it's just sorry. Also, I should probably caveat, as I was saying, obviously going on about Islamic states, whatever it is, and like whatever. It's just like back in the 30s, it was Jews. Yeah. And modern day, it's like people are picking on Muslims.
Yeah, it's always something and someone.
Someone other, or someone like outsiders. Ooh, bad.
The scapegoat. Every time. Yeah. Is Chrissy? She's got like a citizenship. Then that's not like a problem for her.
Well, no, she's German national.
Awesome. All right. So, so not awesome. Does that mean? I mean, does she have to apply again then for citizenship or something?
We'll figure it out, I guess. But it's like until something happens. But her mum. She's like, I came here legally. Fuck you, I'm not flying.
Yeah, good for her. I am. My best friend, she is married a Canadian, and just being like close to that and watching them now have to go through. Luckily, he's coming here on a student visa, and he is actually going to be a student. But you just know that at some point that's going to have to change, and he's going to have to try citizenship, and like it could really fuck up people's lives. Like it does. It blows my mind, and I know this is such a hippie way of thinking about it, but you zoom out. And you just see this earth, and you're like, we're putting in all these imaginary borders, and you're just like, literally, why? I don't understand it.
But also, like, everyone bangs on like immigration is like, there are already fairly strict immigration rules in place anyway.
Yeah, like what?
Anyway.
It makes me sad. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question.
Fuck Brexit.
Fuck Brexit.
On that. Fuck Boris.
He's a cunt.
Yes.
Okay, pick another number.
Number 44.
Do you know what? That gin is really...
Like, you feeling buzzed?
Yeah, I mean, I might have another little sip.
Have a little nip as well.
Fuck me, it really burnt though. Is there any... Oh, this is funny actually that I said to you earlier about going on stage with you guys and me being like, nope, never would have done it. Is there anything you regret not doing due to fear? You seem like a pretty fearless individual.
I wouldn't say I'm fearless. Fucking hate heights.
Do you? Would you ever like do any crazy height shit?
Will and Dan went skydiving. Me and Kyle went to the pub. Me and Kyle had a much nicer time, I reckon. Not really. Yeah, there aren't any things I can look back and kick myself like, I really wish I'd done that.
Yeah. Are you like the type of guy to have any regrets anyway, or do you kind of like a no regret type person?
I guess I'm obviously there's things you could have done better, or whatever. But ultimately, everything that's happened, good and bad, has led to being here. I'm quite happy where I am.
Completely agree.
Out. So yeah. Also, it can't all be sunshine and light the whole time.
No, because you physically can't have the good without the bad.
Yeah.
What's your like view? Do you have like a kind of world view, like spiritually type, anything that kind of gets you through? Do you feel like there's something bigger, or like
it's not hard to be nice and don't be a dickhead?
Right. So
basically,
super simple rules.
Yeah, I think it's come across so many people who are just entitled and whatever and up their ass and or looking down upon others or whatever. It's like, thinking back to politics again, it's like, fucking refugees or asylum seekers coming here. It's like, well, if someone's a refugee, they're seeking refuge.
Yeah.
It's in the name.
Yeah.
Like, they're probably trying to avoid, well, they're probably fleeing their home city getting blown up, but...
And you know that if it was them in that position, they'd be like, well, why the fuck are these people
I guarantee
not helping?
if you sat like a dad of 3 from Syria down with like a dad from Slough, and like I imagine 90% of their concerns are pretty much similar. Like, kids are fucking expensive, second one's not doing well at school, this is in my head, and keep the wife happy, whatever. It's like, imagine they find a lot of common ground.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's that whole looking down on people just because of labels, or that sort of thing, that drives me spare.
Yeah, I used to go on a tirade when I was in school. Like, my thing, what I was really passionate about was stereotyping, because back when I was in school, I imagine the same, like skaters and emos and goths and all that stuff.
Fucking goth, innit?
Exactly, literally exactly that. And that used to piss me off so much, because I guess I was probably a bit of an in-betweener, kind of just friends with everyone. But you'd see like the really popular people completely like bullying emo or whatever it was, and I remember just finding that so fucking unfair.
Maddening,
yeah. And that's, I mean, it's basically the same now, isn't it?
But then, well, I think thinking about stereotypes. Stereotype is often that the kids who kind of excel at school in terms of like socially generally end up doing sort of nothing jobs, and it's the ones that are kind of a bit downtrodden and end up being like captains of industry or whatever, or wildly successful in whatever they want to do eventually. But obviously that's a very big generalization. But school's a funny thing. But then I guess when you're a kid as well, no one's like, anyone that says they're really sure of themselves when they're 16 is talking shit.
Oh, completely.
So I guess kind of aligning yourself to like a certain tribe can be kind of reassuring, or at least you know how you're supposed to behave or look in certain situations, perhaps.
Yeah. So, what was school like for you?
I really enjoyed it. So I went to all boys school.
Which one did you go to?
DHS.
Oh yeah, we spoke about this the other day, didn't we?
Devonport High School for Boys in Plymouth. And you went to the same school as my sister.
Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Up the road, mate.
Were we the same age? How old was your sister?
She is 31.
Oh, so she would have been a couple of years above me.
Yeah. Probably bullied you.
Wait, maybe she was in my sister-in-law's year. Or how funny. We probably know quite a lot of the same people.
It wouldn't surprise me.
No.
Sorry, I digress. But yeah, I really enjoyed school. Kind of had... I was really fortunate. So it's a good school. It's quite supportive. And there's lots going on. And if you really wanted to pursue something, they back you. So like they're really strong on music and sports and all sorts of stuff. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at music. I'm fucking shit at sport, but I love it all the same. But yeah, I mean, like some of my best mates still I'm in touch with, like see regularly from
Amazing.
there. So yeah, it's quite a happy time.
Where did you fall in the rankings of labels and?
I wasn't a skater because I couldn't skate. I wasn't a goth. I don't know. I was probably a bit of an in-betweener, but playing music and being in bands kind of helped lend a certain level of, well, I wasn't cool, but yeah, I guess that was my thing. I was always like the guy who plays drums.
Yeah. When did you start playing drums?
Well, I was 11. So
wow.
last term of primary school.
And did you just like take to it immediately? Did you love it?
A little bit. So my dad is still a guitarist and singer, like playing around Plymouth and stuff. So
amazing.
I grew up kind of watching him play with bands like since I was like tiny, and then foolishly I thought by playing drums I wouldn't have to learn to read music.
Oh right.
Turns out that was bullshit. But yes, I started doing that initially, and because I tried guitar in like primary school, and the teacher was crap, trying to teach you Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And
oh
like,
wow!
I don't want to play that.
Yeah.
But yeah, drums obviously it's kind of everyone wants to play drums in terms of just it's fun, give it a whack, that's the sound. It's kind of instant gratification.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did it from then, and then had lessons all through school, and Dad dragged me around Plymouth from age of like kind of 13, 14, like whenever his drummer couldn't make it, and just kind of fill in.
Your dad must be so proud.
Oh, he loves it, yeah.
Does he?
Absolutely loves it.
Does he like come to lots of shows and stuff?
Yeah. So came to he was actually a little bit teary after Glastonbury as well.
Oh, I
Bless
bet.
him, yeah.
Fucking hell, you wouldn't be able to not be teary watching your son up there.
Yeah. After the Brits as well, like I rang him. He's literally crying on the phone to me, which is really sweet. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And then, so what age did you meet Dan? Like, when did you start being this is what I want to fucking do?
Yeah. I went to music college in Guildford, which.
Is that
let's not give him a name
okay.
check. It's fine. Yeah. My degree came with a big old Mickey Mouse stamp on it, pretty much.
Oh,
but,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Good.
But I did meet Mark Crew, who's Bastille's producer. So we were mates in uni, and then we moved to London at a similar time after that, and just did the usual thing, playing in bands, playing in bars, just anything to avoid a real job sort of thing. So I met Dan because I was broke, and I was temping at the time as well, and it was just trying to do temping stuff, and bands in the evening was just impossible.
Yeah, what were you temping as? Like receptionist
all sorts
and
of
shit?
Like, yeah, office jobs, like inputting data for British American tobacco.
Oh, God. That is bleak.
Dreary. Yeah. On like fuck all money as well. And so I was like, I cannot do this and music at the same time. So I had to find some way of just covering the bills doing music. So Dad was like, well, why don't you teach drums? So he helped me do a flyer drop around Wimbledon sort of area, and did about 3,000 odd flyers. Probably got 3 students and a band, because then Dan lived about 4 rows down from where I was staying at the time, and he was phoned me up thinking I was going to be some old boy. He's like, "Can you recommend any students? Like, I need a drummer." I was like, "Dude, I'm 22. I'll be in your band." So,
really?
Yeah, met him in a pub, and then that was that. So yeah, we played together, like kind of under his name and various other guises for like kind of 18 months, 2 years. So did like a lot of sort of groundwork around then, met people and played at all the empty bars and like the usual kind of rites of passage. And then we were kind of like Spinal Tap, but with bass players, in terms of Spinal Tap keep killing drummers, we kept killing bass players.
Right.
Will was like the 5th one, but
really,
he's still here now, thankfully.
What,
So,
just because they were like shit, or
no, just like some could, because at the time it was like a very sort of a bit left field, off the wall.
right?
It wasn't quite as like radio friendly now
Okay,
as it is
yeah.
now. So some stayed, some left, and then Will stuck with it, and then we picked up Kyle, quite literally at a party.
Really?
Yeah, we were going around trying to find like an extra person. We need someone who could do keys and a bit of production. He like sample stuff. I'm just asking everyone. But basically, I think we must have asked about 94 people to join our band. They're like, no.
Oh my God, I bet they're all fucking kicking themselves now.
A little bit, but Kyle said yes. So then we kind of went away for a summer. Dan came back with like a new batch of songs, which were like, I'd say, a lot more radio friendly. So things like, I think the first Bastille songs were like Things You Lost in the Fire and Daniel in the Den and that
Absolute
sort of stuff.
tunes.
Thanks, mate. And Flaws as well. So yeah, kind of all went from there.
Man, do you kind of believe in like serendipity and like, how the fuck did I get here from this? Like,
It feels surreal.
it's correct. Like, what a story, right? Like, you're just handing around flyers one day, and then all of a sudden you're playing Glastonbury Pyramid Stage. It's like, how the fuck did we get here?
Yeah. I mean, it's quite a big step from those two things.
Yeah,
But,
true. There's a lot of work in between.
But funny enough, like mentioned my dad, is like he's always saying about like, if you just keep putting yourself out there in the marketplace, but I guess this applies to anyone, like any sort of whatever industry or career they want to pursue. It's like, but also like just like from people that I went to college with, there's some people who were really talented but didn't want it enough.
Yeah,
and just gave up too easily.
you quite literally just have to keep going.
Yeah, just be the last one standing, and you'll hopefully get to where you want to be. It's true quite often. And also like, you don't have to be the best. Just like I say, don't be a dickhead. Like if the option is take the shit hot guitarist who's an absolute nightmare when they're drunk, or take the one who's pretty good but really sound and easy to hang out with, they are going to choose the easy to hang out with one.
Yeah, that's
every
so
time.
true, isn't it? Because like, if you're going to be on tour with these people and basically living with them for X amount of time,
Yeah.
you'd so much rather because getting on with them is what's going to keep the band alive, not
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Also, you're on stage for 5% of tour. The rest of it's waiting and traveling and sleeping.
Yeah.
So yeah, just don't be a dickhead.
Don't be a dickhead.
Yeah.
It's such a crazy story. I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is through the grapevine of the music industry, that Radio 1 didn't really want to play you, and then Pompeii was just fucking huge, that they were like, we actually have to play them now.
I don't think that's true. I mean, like they've been one of our biggest supporters.
Really?
Yeah, and continue to be, thankfully. Love you guys.
Oh, I'm sure they won't be listening to this.
But no, they I think it was Hugh Stevens gave Overjoyed a spin,
Right.
and then Zayn, when he was still there, he played Bad Blood a couple of times, and then Flaws went to number 21. It may have made like the C list or something.
Right.
And then Pompeii was like the animal that just no one could catch. Basically, it just had a mind of its own.
What was that like? Like, what was the moment where Pompeii took off and you were like, what the fuck? This feels like very different to what we've done before.
It's weird because like everyone else thinks we formed a band, wrote some songs, recorded them, put Pompeii out. Here we are.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously it's such a slow burn for like years before
The
that.
slogs as well, yeah.
Yeah. So even when Pompeii was taking off, for us it just felt like a real sort of like gentle incline.
Really?
Yeah. Because also, so when if you're ever fortunate enough to be in that position, it's like if you've got a decent agent, they're like booking venues that they know you can fill. So if it's on the up, all of a sudden all these venues are like rammed and it's like the hottest ticket in town. So it feels quite exciting. So every venue you step up, it's like it's full. So rather than just going from like pub to arena, you're taking these stepping stones along the way,
Right.
and just kind of trying to, I guess, kind of fan the flames a little bit and build it up. But like Pompeii took us to places and probably skewed our reality a little bit. We thought,
Did it?
this is how it is for everyone. Like going to the Grammys and even just like random like parties and stuff you get invited to. Like we don't play that game at all in terms of the whole like socialite.
Yeah, I
nonsense.
can't see you guys doing that at all.
Nah, I mean, like, we actively try and avoid it. Whereas like some people play that game really well. Or like, in fact, chatted to Ella Eyre, who like she talked with us numerous times. Like she's like I think she's fucking great. Obviously, wicked singer. She's a writer. She's also got like a very old head on young shoulders as well.
Yeah, she's gone through a lot as well, hasn't she?
She's really switched on.
Yeah.
But like just kind of saying like, for us, we can, as an indie band, blokes, we can literally look like we've just rolled out of bed, and it's like, oh, that's really cool. And just like for like a female solo artist, it's like if you've seen wearing the same outfit twice, your hair's not quite right. They're like, oh, she's slipping.
Yeah, that's so true and so fucked.
That's brutal.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So quite often, female artists will have, well, even like female band members as well will have like a stylist with them, whatever, because it's just that's the impression it gives off if you don't look after yourself.
Did you guys ever have to go through the whole let's try and style you like label shit?
To a point.
Because I can't imagine any of you guys being like, yeah, let's dress up.
But like I don't think there's ever been anything terribly outlandish.
No.
It's not like we're like wearing like full body paint or something.
Yeah.
In a desert, like with like eagles flying around us or something. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's like some input, and mainly because for like press or whatever, they don't want you being in the same t-shirt in 94 pictures. So they'll have things that they rotate and recommend, but it all needs to look within a certain like scope of what the band sounds like. For instance, if we all turned up like looking like goths with like white makeup and stuff.
Oh my god, I'd love to see that. I would love to see that.
Maybe at Halloween, you never know. So yeah, and obviously if you also dressed up like grime MCs, we'd look ridiculous as well. So it needs to be within a certain scope, I guess, of just plausibility.
Yeah. What's the darkest bit about being in like a successful band? What's the bit that people were like, because it's glamorized obviously massively, but there are bits that are like, man, you don't see this shit.
It's not very glamorous.
It's just, it is a lot of waiting around.
Yeah, it's a lot of waiting around. As in, that's not to say boo-hoo, poor me. Is like I absolutely love it, and I know we're incredibly fortunate. Even like, so it's the other thing with the industry that people maybe don't realize is like everyone thinks the goal is to get a record deal, but they don't realize that's just step one. Yeah. Like there's bands,
and so many people fail at that step too. Like you get there, and then that's you're still fucked after that.
Like, there's a band who we toured with, in fact, who were at Leopoldsy as well, called Swiss Lips from Manchester, and like, mate, I still got their album like saved somewhere on my computer. Like their album's wicked. It's like a really, really good pop band, and for whatever reason, it was like label stuff or radio stuff. Something went 180 at the last minute, and they went from being like about to go to just they're gone. And it's like you hear that story, or you hear stories of like labels signing an act that's kind of similar to an act they're about to push, just to basically shelve them. Right. So then to kind of like take, like it's a business. It's just like so cutthroat.
So cutthroat and so fickle as well.
Yeah. Oh god, it's brutal.
Like people are all in it 1 minute, and then the next they will happily never talk to you again. You're just like,
but then you get people making decisions who like started out in the fucking post room or something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, now I'm director of this, that, and the other. Like, You used to make the tea.
Yeah.
Like, do you play guitar? No, you don't play anything. Okay, right. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we had kind of like a backwards journey with metal art. Like the first year, well, our first gig was with you guys at Coventry, and then
Casbah.
yeah, and then Gabrielle gave us her tour, and then we had Lewis Watson at the end. Like it was a really great year for us, and it was our first year, so we were like, again, much like you were saying with Pompeii, kind of gave us a skewed version of reality. We were like, oh, this is just going to keep getting better and better, better.
It's easy.
But it literally, it's just, and I don't, going downhill from there maybe is a bit too harsh, but it seems to have gone backwards. Like that was our peak then, and the past kind of 5 years or 4 years, we've been like scratching to stay anywhere near where we were then. And I think the music industry has just beaten Dan and I down so much. Like it's so brutal. And if you don't have everything kind of perfect, you're just kind of screwed no matter the music you make, especially with Spotify being an absolute mystery. And yet it's the only thing really that people get music from nowadays.
Yeah, well,
it's fucked.
But it's constantly morphing. Like people, like labels, even kind of guessing a little bit as to how it's best to launch an artist. Because like, I mean, when we started, people were still buying CDs.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Which makes us sound like quite dinosaurs now, if you think about it. But in fact, yeah, we kind of really came up when streaming first became big. So like we were like the most streamed band in the UK one year, which is great. But now social media seems to have taken over as well, because you see like someone like Lewis Capaldi, so tour with us. He's like nicest guy as well you ever meet. He's like top boy. But then like his presence now, because obviously he's also genuinely hilarious. People like him as much for his Instagram as his tunes. Obviously he's got a great voice and whatever. So that's that whole kind of complete package. It's not just like the one thing. Oh, you're really funny, or you're really good at music. You need to have all these little other elements to your bow. So it's kind of all of a sudden it's like, right, you got the album good to go. Like, right, who can do some funny shit on Twitter or whatever, or start a Twitter beef or something. It's people want this. I don't know. It also it's constant engagement. As you're saying about Spotify, like I can see imminently albums being a thing of the past in terms of everyone is geared towards New Music Friday and playlists. So it's kind of, you're better off doing like, say, an EP and just drip feeding it once a week just to keep getting on these playlists. And I've heard people talk about when they're writing or doing co-writes, is it Spotify enough? So like, I think if you don't get like a key hook or a vocal in the first sort of 6 seconds, they reckon that's where people start skipping to the next song.
Oh, wow.
So
that makes me so sad.
So it's literally affecting how music is now structured.
Yeah. That's so sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you think like growing up, like, I mean, I didn't have the most eclectic music taste. I did just love pop music from day one. But like, I loved like Maroon 5, for example, Songs About Jane, still one of my all-time favorite albums. But I remember going home, putting that in the CD player and like sitting with the booklet and the lyrics and just going through each one and absolutely loving it. But even I, being a music fan like that, I don't digest music like that anymore either. Like I'm much more kind of, oh, I like this song on Spotify, I'll add it to my playlist. Like I just don't digest it the same way. So how can I
also, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I mean, I've literally just carried my phone in my pocket and I've got the entire world of music pretty much there, rather than like lugging around like mini discs or a whole bag full of CDs or whatever. It's like we used to. But also in a weird way, it's kind of democratizing, because if people like it, they'll play it. Like they aren't being forced to buy a certain CD and like take a punt.
Yeah.
It's kind of, if a song's climbing, it's because people are listening to it.
Yeah. Although we found the opposite thing, where Fly, for example, has done really well on Spotify, but it doesn't translate to like people coming to shows, almost because it's getting played in like coffee shops and stuff, but everyone's just having coffee and talking to their friend. No one, do you know what I mean? It's just background music. So it's been racking up the plays, and yet doesn't feel like there's much to show for it.
Yeah, but maybe that also feeds back into the whole kind of social media thing. Maybe people aren't connecting what they hear with what you guys look like, for instance, or the people, or like
which is why MySpace was so good back in the day, because it was all in one. You had everything. You had the player, you had the band photos, where it seems so separate now. You just hear this disembodied voice and you'll never really know who it is unless they're on Shazam or something.
Yeah, well, yeah, God, yeah, like Shazam charts are a thing now as well. It was like, you get Shazam load, it's tracking on there as well. It's just, there's so many facets to it now.
Yeah, it must be so weird being like a successful band in this era where it is all changing, going from like the CDs to Spotify. You've been right in the middle of it all and somehow still came out on top.
But also, I say, like, if you can build your fan base, like like I said, like we toured loads. Like we didn't just jump from pubs to arenas.
Yeah.
So obviously if you do well at festivals as well, that helps. And then there's just so many aspects to it. It's the thing. It's like everyone's like, what's the secret? It's like there isn't one. It's just you need lots of tiny plates spinning constantly, and they all like amount to a big plate.
Yeah. And also that's the other thing about the music industry is that no one has a fucking clue what they're doing really, because no one knows how this new artist that's coming out next week that's going to do really well, no one knows how that's going to happen. It just happens.
Yeah.
So these labels are like, right, we'll get this and this, and that will lead to that. Like, no, it won't. You never know what's going to connect. You could think that a single one's going to connect, and actually it's some random song that no one gives a shit about that does, and then that gets on an advert. Like, and so when people are like, what do I do? What's the advice? I'm like, it's different for literally everyone. So just go, like, start down the road and you'll just figure it out along the way.
Yeah, but also what's interesting in terms of like the old model, well, I call it the old model of like release singles, release albums, sell those tickets, etc. is like, because everyone's chopping and changing, which in a way is great because I like everything from pop to grime to metal to everything else in between, just not country.
What do you think of Old Town Road?
I love the story behind it.
It's a cool story, isn't
But
it?
the fact that like they tried to shut it down and ended up making it the biggest song of the year by accident,
it's crazy.
was incredible. So yeah, that I quite like. But we're now heading to a period where everyone's complaining every year about like, the Glastonbury headliners or it's Foo Fighters again for Reading sort of thing. It's like, but bands aren't being, or artists even aren't being given the chance to build up, unless you're some like a Sheeran or from like an Adele, whoever. But who's going to be the next bands to headline will come through because people aren't sticking with bands for more than an album or two.
That's so true and so sad.
And kicking off because like Kendrick's doing Reading is like, well, he's one of the biggest acts in the world, and everyone went fucking crazy when he turned up as well. So it's like, see for yourself.
Yeah. What are you guys thinking then in terms of this new era? Like, are you still like, we still want to do singles and albums and stick to that?
Yeah, I mean, do it just whatever, as long as we can not be forced down like a really awkward, inappropriate like route, and just stay true to ourselves and just keep it like I think people can tell when something is like forced or manufactured. It's like if you're trying to move with a certain trend, you get found out so quickly.
So true. And I guess luckily for you guys, you're at the level now where you can just kind of do it however you want.
Yeah, but we definitely want to keep progressing it because I think each album sounds different from the last. I definitely keep changing things up, and yeah, just kind of hopefully people will come with us.
Yeah.
Also, like, again, not wanting to sound like dinosaurs or old, but like, so Bad Blood came out in 2013. That was like 6 years ago.
Yeah, that fucking
like,
blows my mind.
But 6 years in terms of like, if you were 14 when it came out, you're now 20. Like, how much of your life has changed? You've gone from being like a kid to like an adult. You've either gone to uni or got jobs, got married, whatever. Or like even 21 to 27 is a huge leap. So it's like trying to bring people with you like through their lives pretty much as well. It's kind of a whole different headspace if you want to try and kind of have some longevity and not just be a little flash in the pan.
Yeah. And even your live shows, they've like completely changed from watching Glastonbury, and then I saw you at Pavilions, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you've got more people on, and there's like a big rug. It kind of looks like a very chilled, like everyone's just
the
in a room.
rotating sofa. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a cool idea. Whose idea is that?
It's Dan. So it was like, it was very much trying to because the new album, which I should probably plug as I'm on here.
Yeah.
The album Doom Days, out now. Please buy it. Cheers. Is set across the course of a night out. So it starts at midnight with the first song and ends at like 8 a.m. with the song Joy. We wake up passed out on the kitchen floor. But the whole point of the sofa was to try and make it feel more intimate. It's that point in the night when everyone's absolutely wasted on the sofa, and just to try and make it feel intimate. So we've got like a lamp and like the sofa that's there. So it's just trying to zoom in and make it a bit more human.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of a nice little stage prop, and got the whole spinning like plate thing as well. So it gives Dan some extra exercise when he's running around.
He's like transformed as a performer. Like he fucking loves it now.
It's funny because like he's like still quite self-deprecating, but I mean obviously having watched him from the side of stage for the last like 8-9 years, yeah, you just see he's like grown and improved and just kind of understands more how to interact. Even like getting people to like sing along now as well. Even say like, I sing this, you do that.
Yeah,
Which
it's so
cool.
cool.
He would never have done that 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He would have died of embarrassment. Yeah.
I can't like, I think maybe it's a personal thing. I love the self-deprecating thing though, because everyone You see so many other bands and they're just like, yeah, fucking kill it, just like really confident, like, but borderline arrogant, whereas he's oh, you don't really have to, please do it. Like, I love that.
But then I find as well, if you don't commit to it, if you're like, hey guys, clap along please, no one does it. You need to just kind of like take a chance and really do it. So there's a few times where like I've stood up like in the middle of a song, like clapping really over the top. It's like, I'm going to look such a prick if people don't do this.
And then people do, luckily.
Yeah, like luckily it's a relief.
You must have had some awful gigs, like awful gigs.
Yeah,
probably from the slog days more so, right?
Days, yeah, we did. What did we do? We on the last tour we did unsigned. That was like autumn 2011. We played in Cardiff to like 12 people. Got heckled for half of it.
Really? Like what? Like just like your shit?
I don't even know what they were saying. Couldn't understand it. But afterwards they're like, "Oh, that was wicked. Can we get a picture?" It's like, "What?
What the
you
fuck?
on about?" But then we drove. So then we got absolutely smashed because there's a good mate of mine from Plymouth who's living in Cardiff now. So stayed with him. Again, this is like the unsigned days. We're all crashing on a mate's floor. So we then drove horrifically hungover up to Wrexham through Wales, which took like 4 hours. And then played to 4 people and the sound guy in this colossal venue. It was just like this old like engine shed.
Right.
It's like, this is
so depressing.
Just depressing.
Do you reckon, like, had you been doing that for many more years, would you have thrown the towel in?
I don't know. I guess
you can't know, can you?
Yeah, but then it's also, if you can find a way of still doing it without kind of living in that like abject poverty, I guess you would keep. I mean, like I will always be a musician, even when Bastille stops eventually. I'll be doing it somehow. It's just it's what I do.
You guys must have such a close bond now. You've been through like fucking every country, every situation together. Like
it's I say it's more like being brothers rather than mates now. Cause because like we just lived together for so long. It's kind of obviously mates you can like pick up and put down, whereas family you live with the whole time. But yeah, we've learned how to not push each other's buttons now, especially these like big long 7-week tours so that you literally sleep next to each other as well, on like in the bunks on the tour bus. So yeah, eat together, sleep together, play together. You need to be pretty tolerant. Yeah.
Did it take a while to kind of like figure out those lines? And be
I mean, inevitably. Also, on the first album, we were drinking like it was going out of fashion because we don't know how long this is going to last.
Yeah, and you have to do that.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. And kind of obviously worked so long to get there. It's like we're gonna have it every night. It's not conducive to looking after your voice terribly well. It turns out, or sleeping terribly well, or looking like you're not half dead on camera. But when it looked like this has probably got some legs to it. We started kind of calming it down a bit. I mean, we still have like mad nights now and then, but we kind of pick and choose our moments now.
Right. Yeah, because I find it impossible to be on tour and not drink every single night. Yeah. But I think, if we were doing really long ones and it had like lots of legs, I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I think like I'd probably just loads of legs. I think I'd probably look after myself a bit more. But I have noticed I cannot sing anywhere near like I used to be. It freaks me out, actually. And this is a whole other fun story that I'll tell you in a second, but I was looking back at old YouTube videos. God knows fucking why I was doing that. But I was like, I like this song that I wrote. I'm going to try and play it. So I start playing it and I'm like, I physically can't reach the note.
You can't get up there.
So I was like, oh God, I must have been playing it like differently or something. And it turns out I was playing it transpose 3, capo 3. And I couldn't even do it without the fucking capo.
Ooh.
So I was like, it really freaked me out. So I was like, I kind of want some singing lessons. I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong now.
Yeah.
So I went there, and this is the funny bit. Turns out he's like a really big Bastille fan.
Right.
And I saw behind, when you guys played Clifton Suspension Bridge, it was an outside. Yeah. And
2012.
That was a while. And I came to that show and he had a signed photo of you guys at that thing. And I was like, I swear I was there. And he was like, I love Bastille. I love them. And I was like, this is going to be the biggest name drop ever, Kate. Don't do it. But I couldn't help it. I was like, I was like, Dan covered one of my songs. And he was like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? But then it felt really awkward because I was like, I physically can't sing. I sound like an absolute bag of shit in front of you. So it doesn't really matter. But my tiny ego became a much bigger ego in that 10-second
So
gap.
it's kind of, like singers get the rough deal because their instrument is part of their body, whereas like I mean I've done shows before with like full blown food poisoning where I'm like shaking and sweating, but the drums still sound the same ish.
Yeah.
So it's kind of you just get through it. But yeah, if you're feeling like unwell, there's no hiding it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's kind of also things like well, so sleep is the biggest thing on tour, which is why obviously going out and getting smashed every night. Drinking's one thing; it dries you out. But then also, yeah, just the lack of sleep and rest has an effect. Also, aircon is absolute murder.
Really?
Yeah, because it just dries your throat out horribly.
Oh, so is that like banned?
No, because otherwise the bus reaches like 40 degrees and no one can sleep. So it's kind of like tour bus sleep. It's not very restful. I mean, I can sleep all right, but yeah, some of the others not so great. It's also your driver is a massive part of that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say
if they're really good, it's quite smooth. They're worth their weight in gold. You get some nutters. We had one who shall remain nameless. Like, was going around corners so hard in the US, we thought we were going to come flying out of our bunk at one point.
Fuck, really?
Yeah.
How terrifying.
And also, like, the worst sound is when you're in your bunk and you hear the sound of rumble strips, like duff 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 duff. It's like, oh god, he's going to veer off the road. We're dead. We're so dead.
So yeah. do you manage to eat well on tour now? Like, do you have like a schedule? Because touring's probably most of the majority of your time.
Yeah.
Like, because it's so little of my time, I'm like, fuck it, let's go to restaurants, let's get drunk.
Yeah.
Whereas you, I guess it's the other way. You're like, I actually this is my life. I have to eat well.
Yeah. Well, it's also like I have to work really hard to keep weight off, whereas Kyle, the little fucker, has to eat to keep weight on.
I hate that.
Asshole.
I hate that.
But yeah, because obviously, well, you want to stay fit for actually doing your job for one, but also like you're in front of cameras and all sorts of stuff. So it's like, yeah, you don't. I mean, so like I can see through old pictures, like my weight's gone up and down over the years. But yeah, we eat relatively sensibly. Like the real killer is when like after show pizzas come out for the crew, and it's like, oh, it's all I want right now.
Oh god.
But it's a weird thing as well because like most people when they go to work, it's from like 9 till 6 or whatever, whereas we don't start work till like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then it's like you can't go straight to bed after doing 2 hours show. Like, yeah, wicked, everyone's shouting. It's like, so
yeah, exactly.
A few drinks then, try and calm down. And so that's the real vicious cycle you can fall into.
Yeah.
Like, and especially if you are on the road a lot and then you come home, you kind of missing that buzz and you get a bit anxious like around 9 o'clock. It's like, we should be doing something. But that's how people I've come across as well who like end up, that's how you get drinking job problems, just out of boredom. It's like, we're off tour, what should we do? Pub? Like, yeah, let's do it. It's only 11:30.
Yeah. I literally don't tour that often, but if I'm like at home, I've got nothing to do in the day. I'm like,
yeah.
This is why this Plymouth gym will not be my friend in the long run, because I will just sip it in the day. Do you get that then when you get home from tour? Do you have like tour blues every time, or I don't have time to have tour blues. I'm literally drop the bag straight into doing washing, dealing with baby stuff. That's got to be like a blessing. Like obviously it's a blessing anyway, but like to have that, you literally can't sit there and be bored. Like,
yeah, I mean there's times where it's like I would just love to have a day off, just sit and even just for jet lag.
Man, it almost feels pretty cruel to leave it there, but I gotta do what I gotta do. And the last 20 minutes of that episode can be found exclusively on my Patreon, patreon.com/Kate McGill. The link will be in the show notes. So I hope you enjoyed my chat with Woody. Isn't he wonderful? Aren't humans wonderful? I love getting into people's brains and figuring out why they are. I just find it so fascinating. So thank you for listening and for allowing me to do this podcast and for commenting and letting me know your feedback. I just feel so grateful to be in this position. Thank you so much. And as ever, I'm going to leave you on one of my favorite quotes from The Untethered Soul, which is just a book that has changed my life on a dramatic scale. And I feel like it fits pretty perfectly into what I just said. Imagine if you used relationships to get to know other people rather than to satisfy what is blocked inside of you. If you're not trying to make people fit into your preconceived notions of what you like and dislike, you will find that relationships are not really that difficult. If you're not so busy judging and resisting people based upon what is blocked inside of you, you will find that they are much easier to get along with, and so are you. Letting go of yourself is the simplest way to get closer to others. Man, I love that so much. You can find the link to that book in the show notes too, and full disclosure, it's from my Amazon shop, so when you buy it I get a tiny little chunk of that. Okay, I'll see you back here in a couple of weeks for episode 4. Thank you again for listening, and have a lovely, lovely life up until then.